Hey, how's it going everyone? I hope you're all doing well as usual. So I'm back today with another video, this time returning to my heavy metal vinyl series. So that's a series in which I just show in accordance with the genre of heavy metal, vinyl records in alphabetical order. So I haven't done one of these in a while. I think the last bands I talked about alphabetically were Europe, followed by Iron Maiden. So we're continuing down the alphabet today and just talking about one band actually, because with this particular band I have 5 records to show. So that band is none other than Judas Priest, perhaps the ultimate heavy metal band, one of my favorite heavy metal bands of all time. British heavy metal, originally from Birmingham, and they were always sort of like the big rival group to Iron Maiden, but it's sort of like a friendly competition between those two bands. And for the record, I really like both bands. I mean, Iron Maiden is more sort of epic, atmospheric, folky heavy metal, whereas Judas Priest had a more sort of stripped down, straightforward, rock and roll, aggressive metal kind of approach, I guess. But I mean, diversity, that's always good when it comes to music. So you'll recall I have spoken about Judas Priest before on this channel when I was going through my CD collection. So I talked about the Judas Priest albums I owned on CD. So for today's records, there is a lot of overlap. Like some of those albums I have spoken about on CD before, so I'm not going to go into too much detail with those. There are some new ones which I'll speak about more a bit, but what I will also do is link up my Judas Priest CD video. So if you want to hear about these albums in more detail, if you need to or you would like to, you can check out that link. But yeah, as I said, there are some albums here today which I've never spoken about before. So without further ado, we will get straight into it. And once again, I by no means own all of the Judas Priest albums. There's a lot of gaps in my collection, both on CD and on vinyl, so I'm just talking about the ones I have. So chronologically, the first one I have in today's series, this is Judas Priest with Sin After Sin from 1977. And I think I spoke about this one in a collection update before. Spoiler alert, of the bunch I'm showing today, this is actually my least favorite by a long way. Not to say that it's a bad album, but this album came out in 1977. So the reason I don't get into this album as much as the others is the fact that it's more sort of mellow and laid back. And there's nothing wrong with that if the music's interesting, but just with a lot of these tracks, I find them a bit meandering and a bit dull. There you go, but there are of course some great tracks. And bear in mind as well, this was 1977, so the band was still finding their sound. They hadn't dusted all the shards of psychedelic rock or blues rock off yet. That came in 1980 with British Steel, I think, when they really found their sound, that metallic sound, and then joined the new wave of British heavy metal. So this is like predating that. But as I said, there are some really good songs on this. Like our opening track is Sinner, really like that. Diamonds and Rust is one of the first Judas Priest songs I ever heard on a Judas Priest compilation, so that holds a special place in my heart. I really like that. And again, that's not a typical heavy metal song, just interesting. Starbreaker is a really good song, like that's very upbeat. It's not a Judas Priest song that you hear being talked about that much, but I really like it. And I like Arch Enemy's cover of that song as well. Last Rose of Summer, I know a lot of people, that is a mellow track, one of the mellow tracks on this album that I actually like. A lot of people describe that track as filler, but I just like the sort of dreary atmosphere of it, which is good. Now on the second side though, there are some tracks which I don't get into much. I just find them a bit meandering and boring, and they would include Let Us Pray, P-R-E-Y, P-R-E-Y, and Here Come the Tears. Like, not terrible songs, but just a bit dull to me. But having said that, I really like Call for the Priest / Raw Deal, and the closing track Dissident Aggressor, which of course was covered by Slayer. On which album? South of Heaven, I think. So whenever I hear Dissident Aggressor, it reminds me of Slayer as well, which is a good thing. But yeah, so I'm not saying this is a terrible album, just I think this band is much more capable of doing better albums, and as you'll see, there are albums I like a lot more than this, but still good stuff. Like for about 40 to 60% of it I really like a lot. So there's the cover art, which is pretty cool. There's the back. And yeah, like I said, this is going to be more of a show and tell than talking about album details, because these have some unique aspects to them. So you'll see this is a Japanese pressing, so all of the lyrics here in Japanese and also in English. The reason I got the Japanese pressing is here in Thailand, a lot of the vinyl records are imported from Japan, and also a fucking rip-off, which is annoying. But it's sort of like in Thailand, for the price of a second-hand vinyl, you pay what you would pay for a brand new one in the US. So it's kind of shitty in that respect. But let's have a look at this. Yep, so the original Epic Records labels, and this one, despite being second-hand, came in very good condition. So that's cool. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not trashing this album at all. I just don't find it as interesting as other ones, and I'm more into the pure heavy metal stuff rather than this one. But yeah, certainly with Judas Priest, there's no absolutely terrible albums. So with every album, you can find something good on them, I think. So unfortunately, I don't have my editing tools, so you'll just have to bear with me here. Yep, so Judas Priest with Sin After Sin from 1977. Okay, up next we have Judas Priest with Screaming for Vengeance. First of all, brilliant cover art. I just love it, so iconic, and I really like the yellow. And just to be economical with time today, long story short, this is absolutely my favorite Judas Priest album of all time. I just love it. It wasn't the first one I heard. I actually heard this back in the day when I got a value pack of Judas Priest CDs, and it had British Steel, Ram It Down, and this one. And this was the one that I listened to last, and I remember thinking, the production on this is weird. It's so clean, but it sounds interesting. It was like nothing I'd ever heard. It was sort of like futuristic and clean sounding, yet very heavy metal, and I just really liked it. But the reason I love this album is simply because all the songs kick ass. Like I'm not going to describe the music in detail, but you know what you can expect from Judas Priest, like upbeat galloping riffs, soaring high vocals from Rob Halford, and the melodic twin guitar attack of Glenn Tipton and KK Downing, you know, doing the trade-off with the leads and the rhythm sections, but absolutely awesome. I love every track on this album. So the Hellion, that's a powerful opener. Electric Eye, I really like the vocals in that. Such a great song. Riding on the Wind is a classic. Yeah, all of these songs, what I like about them is they're so easy to sing along to and so catchy. For example, Bloodstone, Take These Chains, Pain and Pleasure. Yeah, when I rattle off these titles, I could almost start singing, but I will spare you of that. Then over on side 2, the title track, Screaming for Vengeance, is awesome. I love the guitar solo in that. It's just so manic and powerful, brilliant. And of course, you've got Another Thing Coming, one of Judas Priest's most famous songs. It has been overkilled, like absolutely played to death. And whenever I hear it on metal radio, I go, oh, again, but it is a good song. So that's where cliches come from, I suppose. And then Fever is a good song, and Devil's Child. Yeah, I really like that one. I remember when I first heard this album back in the day, I really liked Devil's Child, like just great riff, great vocal melodies. And when I actually saw the band live at Grass Pop in 2015, I was pleasantly surprised that they played Devil's Child, because that's kind of a deep cut for Judas Priest, I think. But yeah, brilliant album. There are so many Judas Priest albums I like, but this one's undoubtedly my favorite. So here we have it, the inner sleeve with a picture of the band and all of the lyrics. Oh, and that reminds me with the lyrics, I think I might have mentioned this before, but on the song Devil's Child, the part where he says, eat my diamonds, when I heard it when I was younger, I thought he was saying, eat McDonald's. What's the significance of that? But now I understand. Yep, so plain black vinyl with the Epic Records label, and this one's in quite good condition too. By the way, most of these I bought secondhand from markets or record shops in Thailand, you know, like probably a bit overpriced, but thankfully, as you've seen with Sin After Sin and this one, they're in good condition for secondhand. Put that sleeve in correctly? Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, so absolutely brilliant. I know I'm probably preaching to the converted. Most people know Judas Priest, but if for some reason you haven't heard this album, check it out because it's brilliant. Judas Priest with Screaming for Vengeance. Right, how we're going for time, not too bad. All right, up next, this is the album that everyone loves to hate, but I love. This is Judas Priest with Turbo from 1986. So you can see there are gaps in my collection. I don't own all of the Judas Priest albums, and I don't profess to. So there are other ones I would like to get, like Defenders of the Faith and, oh, what's the one with the sunglasses on the front? Delivering the Goods. No, that's the song. Anyway, I've got to get those albums. But yeah, this one came out in 1986, sort of during the peak of the glam metal era. And I think a lot of fans criticize this album because the band, they didn't abandon their sound, it was still heavy metal, but they started embracing new elements of music, it's like the whole glammy image and also using keyboard synthesizers. But for the record, for the most part, I love this album. So I can understand why it disappointed purist fans, but I really like it. Just very catchy songs. Like, yes, they are embossed, you know, with this kind of glossy pop framework, you could say, but there's still, you know, there's still that undercurrent of heavy metal, you know, really heavy guitars. The production is good, it's loud, I really like it. My only criticism of this album is there are just a couple of filler tracks for me. Sorry, my battery's running out, so I'll just get those boring ones out of the way. But yeah, Hot for Love. It's like not a terrible song, but I just find it quite boring. And what was the other one? Yeah, Rock You All Around the World. Pretty much a filler song as well. Judas Priest always have a couple of filler songs on their albums. That just seems to be the way it goes. But I have to admit the chorus of that song is catchy. And then Reckless is a song that I used to not like that much, except I realized that the guitars in that are absolutely scorching and raunchy, and the guitar solos are absolutely brilliant. But let's talk about my favorite tracks. Undoubtedly, the first four. They include Turbo Lover, yeah, just really catchy. Locked In, absolutely brilliant song. And now, Private Property and Parental Guidance, I really like those two. They're probably the poppiest songs on the album, but still irresistibly catchy and quite heavy. So, yep. And another favorite track of mine is Out in the Cold, which is, you know, sort of like a dark, atmospheric track. So, of the 9 tracks, my favorites are 5. So, Turbo Lover, Locked In, Private Property, Parental Guidance, and Out in the Cold. But this album gets a bad rep, however you say it, yes, but I don't think it's necessarily justified. There are some really good songs on here, and if you don't go in with expectations, you will probably enjoy some of the songs. That's my opinion anyway, but great iconic cover art, good one for vinyl because it's so colorful and detailed. There's the back, and I think this one, oh yeah, so got this here again, and all of the lyrics. This one is not a Japanese pressing, I don't think. And then I'll just show you this. Okay, so plain black vinyl with the CBS label and also in quite good condition. But yeah, this has always been one of my favorite Judas Priest albums. Not a guilty pleasure, I just like it, but like, yeah, the only shortcoming of this album is there are a couple of filler songs, but by no means are they terrible. So hopefully this fan doesn't mess me around and I can get this back in. Oh, yes! Oh, did I speak too soon? Oh, no. Yeah, so this was considered the weak one in their career, but I completely disagree. Tell me what you think of this album. This is Judas Priest with Turbo. Okay, and 2 more to go. Okay, so up next we have Judas Priest with Ram It Down from 1988. So this was the follow-up to Turbo, and absolutely brilliant album in my opinion. Now again, a lot of people criticize this album saying that the production is flat. It's a sign of a band spending too long with one producer. The songs lacked something. This is what people say. And I'm just like, what? I don't understand it. I really like all of the songs on here. I think the production's good as well. Like, I mean, when people say the production is a bit flat, it's not that bad. Like, it's still very metallic, aggressive, and heavy. So I think sometimes people complain too much, but yeah, great album. And this was one of the first full Judas Priest albums I heard in that 3-pack, so it has a special meaning for me as well. But yeah, like the opening track, Ram It Down, just absolutely scorching and heavy, brilliant. And now the song Heavy Metal, the lyrics are a little bit cheesy in that, but cheese is not necessarily a bad thing. But if we're talking about filler songs, Heavy Metal may be one, but I still really like the vocal melodies in that. Now, track 3, Love Zone. I always hear people bashing that track, saying they dislike it. I love Love Zone. Okay, like I don't know why, I just think the guitar riff in the main chorus and the vocals, you know, the whoa, Love Zone, it just sounds so incredibly catchy. I like the lyrics in that song, I think they're really funny. But yeah, I don't know why people hate Love Zone so much, but I really enjoy it. And this is just my theory, I never realized this, but I think the song Love Zone, the main riff in the chorus, perhaps it was inspired by Rat's Slip of the Lip from their Dancing Undercover album. You know, it's that same kind of riff, like dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I mean, you'll see, but although the vocal melody is different, but Love Zone is a fantastic song. Come and Get It is a very good song as well, you know, like pummeling riff in that and great catchy chorus, which is easy to sing along to. Same with Hard as Iron with the kind of soaring vocals. So as you can tell, like everyone knows about Judas Priest, like these song titles and album titles full of innuendo, like Ram It Down, Come and Get It, Hard as Iron. You know what they're talking about. Then we go over to side 2. This is where the album takes a really epic turn. Like Blood Red Skies is so dark and atmospheric, and I love those sort of like mechanical drum rhythms in it, and Rob's vocals, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Blood Red Skies would have to be one of my favorite songs. Yeah, I'm a Rocker, very catchy chorus as well with the whoa, like an anthemic song which you could sing in a stadium, and I've seen them perform that song live and it goes off. I also really like their cover of Chuck Berry's Johnny Be Good. It's just a lean and mean metalized version with all the shards of the blues dusted off, and it's absolutely fantastic, like fast and aggressive. Now, the last two songs. Okay, Love You to Death. Not a terrible song, but not one of my favorites, but I do like the bridge in that song, so it's not a total lost cause. And the last track, Monsters of Rock, I know a lot of people said that song's really boring because it's so slow, but I used to think the same way, but it slowly grows on you, honestly. So it sort of seeps its way into your system, but I really like that song. So overall, a very good album. There's perhaps like 2 filler songs, but yeah, going through my favorites, they would have to be Ram It Down, Love Zone, talking about my absolute favorites, Blood Red Skies, and Johnny Be Good. They're my absolute favorites, but it's like about 3/4 of the album is really good anyway. So there's the cover there, very sort of heavy metal and iconic. Just showing you the inside. Some of these I haven't looked at for a long time. Okay, so all of the lyrics here in the jacket, and band credits and so on. And again, I know this is not too exciting to see because they all look kind of the same, but plain black vinyl on with CBS labels, also good condition. So yeah, I should be grateful. With a lot of these, I got them secondhand in the market, but there's no scratches and they have a nice sheen on them, which is good. And of course, Judas Priest is excellent music for vinyl because it's heavy metal, it's powerful, it's loud and heavy, so that's just accentuated by vinyl. So I would recommend, if you're a fan of Judas Priest, you have a record player, pick up whatever you can on vinyl because it sounds really good. All right, so there we have it. Judas Priest with Ram It Down from 1988. Now, with the last album I'm going to show, there's a huge gap in the chronology, but this is the last one I picked up. This is Judas Priest with Firepower, the band's second most recent album, and one I've never spoken about on this channel. So this is brand new, fresh material. But put simply, if you haven't heard this album, it's absolutely brilliant. Like, this is a fantastic return to form. When I say return to form, for me, there are a couple of albums before this which I didn't get into much, like Redeemer of Souls and Nostradamus. Not terrible albums, but I don't like long epic concept albums like Nostradamus. So, and then there are a few other kind of patchy albums, but even though Judas Priest always has, with each album, a few worthwhile songs, but this one, it's like all killer, no filler, pretty much, and the production is just awesome. What I like about this album is that it has modern production. I know a lot of people hate that, but for me, modern production just means it's clearer, it's louder, you can hear all the intricacies more clearly. So what is the problem? And this band, it seems like this band and Saxon, they've been inspired. What I like about it is like modern, they've been inspired by modern heavy metal bands and power metal bands who were originally inspired by them, and then they're taking their sound and throwing it back at them, saying, hey, we like what you did with our stuff, now we're going to try some of your stuff. So that in terms of the, there's some speed metal incorporated in here. It's really just scorching, loud, clear production. I think produced by Andy Sneap, which is probably why it sounds so good. But yeah, just that classic Judas Priest sound. It's like Andy Sneap has this ability as a producer, I think, to just say, okay, these are the best aspects of your band, so what we're going to do is just focus on those and exemplify them, accentuate them as much as possible. And that shows on this album. Like, it's fast, it's loud, it's aggressive, it's blasting, scorching, blistering guitar solos, soaring vocals, absolutely hammering drums from Scott Travis. So, you know, all of those classic Priest elements on this album. So, yeah, Firepower, absolutely brilliant way to open the album. You know, Call to Battle with a fast song. Lightning Strikes has got a very like bouncy, catchy rhythm and sing-along chorus. Evil Never Dies is good. Never the Heroes, very memorable vocal melody in the chorus. Necromancer, the same. Oh God, it's such a heavy track. I really like that. And God, yeah, I just realized as I'm going through these song titles how the vocal melodies make these songs so catchy, which is also shown on Children of the Sun. Like when I read the song title out, it makes me want to start singing, but I'll spare you of that. But Children of the Sun is a great track. Over to the second disc. Unfortunately, this came on double vinyl. There's an intro called Guardians, but then it takes us into my favorite track on the album, which is Rising from Ruins. Just such an incredibly catchy, sing-along, anthemic chorus. Yep, I got to use that word. But yeah, so undoubtedly, hands down, my favorite track on the album is Rising from Ruins. It's extremely catchy and it sticks in your head. And Flamethrower, going back to that classic aggressive Priest style, and Spectre is a very good song as well. Now, towards the end, I said this album is no all killer, no filler. However, if I'm going to offer one criticism, small one, not being a picky bitch, is that perhaps the album goes on for quite a long time. So I really like Traitor's Gate and No Surrender. And then after that, I think, oh, you know, the album's ready to wrap up. But then they have two more tracks, Lone Wolf and Sea of Red, which is a more sort of somber closer, but by no means bad tracks. It's just a very long album, but absolutely brilliant. This cover art is fucking cool and it completely corresponds to the music, what you hear on this album. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So probably my all-time favorite songs on this album would be so hard, like Firepower, Necromancer, Children of the Sun, Rising from Ruins, Flamethrower, and Spectre. But like overall a really good album in general. It just goes on a bit long, so I could do without the last couple of tracks, but certainly by no means bad. So there's the back. This one I bought in at Concerto Records in Amsterdam. So it was actually a brand new one, and annoyingly it comes on double vinyl. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but I fucking hate double vinyl albums. Like for example, if it's an album like Scorpions Worldwide Live, you need a double vinyl because there's so much music on there. But this is, I think, just like standard album length. But I hate it when they put a vinyl record on 2 discs because it's just more weight. You have to change the sides more often, twice as often. I know it probably sounds like first world problems, but I just think, hey, I'm just happy with the 1 disc. Keep it simple, keep it light. That's good for me. But anyway, so just show you here. I'm not going to pull all of this out because both of them are the same, but you've got the lyrics for the songs on each vinyl record, each disc. And yep, you've got the plain black vinyl with the track listings and then these cool iconic logos. So the second one is the same as well. But yeah, and for some reason with this particular one, I think I have a problem with my turntable, but what's annoying is, for some reason my record player refuses to play disc 2, which is another reason why I hate double vinyl, because if it was just on 1, it most likely would have played. Kind of annoying, but that's the nature of double vinyl. But yeah, I do like gatefolds though, so that's kind of cool. Yep, so great return to form, Judas Priest with Firepower, and I have to say, their most recent album after this Invincible Shield, I don't own it, but I absolutely love that too. So if my opinion counts for anything, I would say to Judas Priest, Firepower, Invincible Shield, keep doing that. That's really good. Like in comparison to some of the meandering concept albums, but like the last 2 albums have been absolutely kick-ass, and I apologize for the pun, on fire. But yes, Judas Priest with Firepower. All right, so that's it, guys. They're the only albums I own by Judas Priest on vinyl, but like I said, I still have gaps in the collection, so I will pick those up in time when I see them, and especially on CD. But yeah, let me know what you think of these albums, and please feel free to comment on the video. Let's get some discussion going. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that too, because that would really help to support me, and I'd appreciate it. So more to come. I think the next video I'm going to go back to my existing CD collection to talk about some more extreme metal, just to change it up, because I like to have variety between the videos, not like consecutive ones all talking about the same thing. But yes, I will be back very soon, I think in the next couple of days with the next video. So I hope you keep watching. So in the meantime, take care, and I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye.